Think less, do more. If you're an overthinker like myself, this video is for you. The biggest breakthroughs that came in my life came from taking action fast and not by thinking, and having the perfect plan. And I see the most successful people that I know, and both in business and in personal life, are people who take action consistently. And so this is why I wanted to make this video, also for a reminder to myself to think less and act more. Because the only thing that moves you forward in life, wherever you want to go, whatever you want to do, is taking action, is doing stuff. And I want to give you guys some real life experience from my business and personal life that taught me that taking action is the way to go. But first of all, why do we tend to think a lot? Why do we overthink stuff? And the reality is because thinking is safe, right? Because you're not taking action. You're not doing the stuff that actually moves you forward, or you're not taking the leap that brings your desired life closer to you, right? Because you're just thinking, okay, what is the best business to start? What is the right co-founder for my business? What is the country I should move to? Should I do my master's? Should I not do my master's? You know, and you're just thinking, and not taking action, right? And I still overthink. I still overthink a lot. But what I know for sure is that I have never regretted taking action, because either you get what you want or you get a no that frees you, gives you more clarity on what is the next step and direction to take, and you are able to move forward. So, really, if I look back in my life, I have never regretted taking action, even when I got no's, even when the outcome wasn't the one that I hoped for. And let me share with you guys some first-hand life experience about taking action. So first of all, when I was 16 years old, now 25, I started my first business. I didn't have a plan, particular strategy or whatsoever. I was just passionate about building and customize Lego minifigures, and I said, wow, there's no stores in Italy that sell this. Why don't I do this? Why don't I translate this passion into a business? Let me start just doing the product and start getting first sales. Again, no perfect plan, no perfect strategies. I wasn't even aware what e-commerce was back then. I was just, just wanted to try this. And this, thinking back, was the best mental approach I could have back then. And so what I did is just started building my products, messaged outbound, called outbound some people to attend some fairs, and I started doing my first sales at those enthusiast Lego expo fairs. And I just learned by doing. I learned social media marketing by doing. I didn't have an Instagram page back then. I just started out building the brand after I made my first sales, actually. I actually found my name for my company after I did my first sales, after I found product market fit. And over the course of 5 years, just by doing it, just by learn by doing, I managed to move that business, translate that business to an e-commerce, grew it to the number one e-com in my whole country in Italy for that particular niche. And I was able to exit the business at 21 years old. And looking back, it was an amazing experience. And it didn't start from having a perfect plan, but just from taking action step by step and just trying it out. But of course, taking action is not always about successes. It's also about some failures. For example, in 2020, I was 20 years old back then. I wanted to start a clothing brand. I wanted to try to build my own clothing brand. And, the more I thought about it, the more I was, trapped into, okay, what is the kind of brand that I want to build? What is the market positioning that I want to have? How will I do my sales? How will I do my marketing? How will I find my suppliers? And there was a big chaos and confusion. And the only moment when I broke free from that loop was when I did the first step and actually, for example, reached out to suppliers overseas in China, Bangladesh, and India to get first samples of the products I imagined, right? So it was about, taking the first step that actually gave me the motion and momentum to move forward. Then I had a team of friends to help me out, and eventually I built a brand from zero, um, with custom t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters with less than 2,000 euros. And that business was not successful at the end, right? I ran it for almost 2 years. It never really took off, but I learned so much with that business, from managing suppliers overseas to building, a brand, to hiring the right people. And like, I learned so much with it that I would do that 1,000 times again. So again, I didn't regret taking action and losing that money to that business that eventually didn't took off and wasn't profitable, because I learned so much and it gave me so much clarity on what to do next, on what kind of businesses are better than, for example, launching a clothing brand. So another example from my personal life was almost 1 year ago. This is way more recent. I was working in a fintech startup. I was working in Italy, my home country, and I was really felt the need to have a change, move abroad, change a bit in career, and essentially look for my next step in another country. And I was thinking this over and over, but I was not actually taking action. I was not actually doing a thing. And this kept me stuck and unsatisfied, stressed with anxiety and so on. And I still remember it very vividly. The moment when I broke free from that loop was when I did the first step, when I committed to actually take action, which in my case was send out my CVs, start doing interviews, start doing cold outbound to people in companies I was interested into, talking to them, and really um, do the thing to make my career progress and move abroad, which was also like looking for apartments in the cities where I wanted to move, right? That I did like, and not just strategizing like, okay, which is the best country to move into? Is it better Germany? Is it better France? Is it better Austria? Is it better Sweden? Whatever. I just took action and said, okay, let's just commit to one place and just look for apartments and just try to get it right. And what gave me that moment when I decided to take action was a lot of clarity. I was in motion. I had momentum, and I was, even if I wasn't accomplished yet to in like for my goal, I felt a sense of accomplishment on a day to day, because I was doing the action. I was doing the right steps towards my goal. So really, start small. That's my advice for you. If you are stuck, just do a small thing that you know is right for you in this exact moment. Stop thinking and just do it for whatever thing could be for you. And in that interview process that I had last year, I also got many no's, right? At first, I wanted to move to Vienna, for example, and I wanted to work in a big fintech unicorn based in Vienna, very well known here in Europe, which I want to name, of course. And I went basically all in. I felt that was the right company for me, that I had the best credential for it. I did many interviews, talked with a lot of recruiters. Like, I was so committed to that company, but on the last round, eventually I didn't get the job. I didn't get the opportunity I was looking for. And that was a big no in the moment. But looking back, it gave me a new direction to follow. It made me stop and think, just for a little bit and then take action again on what would be the right next step for me. And eventually this led me to tech sales and build a career in sales, which is something that is helping me with my entrepreneurial spirit and will shape me as a great entrepreneur tomorrow. I'm sure about that, because sales is the foundation of every business. So I'm so glad that I've ended up in tech sales, for example. And that was possible because I had that big no in that moment. So it gave me, taking action gave me clarity on what to do next, which was like, looking back is crazy. Like, it's really, it's incredible. In the moment you don't realize, but if you actually, continue to do the thing and continue to take action, you will eventually notice that you have clarity and a direction to follow. Because, like, as Steve Jobs says, you're able to connect the dots only after you accomplish something, after, so looking back basically, right? And not in the exact moment. And it's so true. It's so damn true. Because us as overthinkers, we always think that we should have clarity before taking action. We think we should have all the answers before doing. But you learn that you actually learn how to swim by being in the water. You learn to drive by being in the car. You learn how to cook by actually cooking, not just by reading it. So, or like when I studied in business, I learned how to build a successful small business by doing it, not just by watching YouTube videos, by just consuming content, or by just strategizing, right? Or by being a wannabe entrepreneur with a great idea. And this is why, all VCs, successful business owners and founders, say that it's all about execution and ideas count nothing. And this comes down to taking action. Why ideas count nothing? Because people with great ideas that don't act are simply worthless, and people with mediocre ideas that just act, try what works, and double down on that. You know, this is the formula to do in business, to use in business and in life, actually. And so clarity comes after you try, you learn, you do some mistakes. Even when you get no's or you do mistakes, you learn, you get the clarity after. And another thing that is preventing us overthinkers, or people who strategize a lot, to actually build the life that we want is sometimes motivation, right? But motivation, and this we can learn this from great athletes, comes and goes. Great athletes are not motivated every single day to train hard and to do their best, to take the action every single day, but yet they do it despite the fact that they don't feel it that day, right? So don't wait to be motivated to take action. Just start small with a small step. And more often you will be motivated after you start doing it. For example, last year, when I was stuck in my thoughts and I was waiting to feel motivated to act, I actually felt motivated after I sent my first CVs out, got the first no's, and just kept the ball rolling. I was motivated there after I took action. And it's so powerful. And great athletes say this all the time. And taking action involves uncertainty, doubt, fear. Um, I love the phrase, fortune favors the brave. Um, I feel that's so true. But as I like to say, fortune favors the one who take action, because being brave at the end of the day is about taking action, right? It's about taking that leap, even when you have fear about change or the future. You acknowledge you have fear, but you act despite it because you know that's the right thing to do. So fortune favors the one who act, the ones who execute. Um, and I think that is helping. I think overthinkers, and also myself, to know when is the right time to act is start before you know how. One of the main blockers that I think affects most of us is we don't pursue that business idea because we feel we are not ready for it. We don't pursue that new hobby or that new thing in life that we want to try out because we don't feel we are either motivated or we are ready for it. But that's actually, if you adopt the mindset of starting before you know how, well, you acknowledge that you don't feel you are ready for that specific thing, like launching a business, and you just start despite it. This doesn't mean being naive, of course, right? A little bit of plan always is necessary, right? Maybe you want to keep your full-time job and build on the side, but for example, this is a way to actually start doing the thing, start building, start acting. So really start before you know how. That's the only way to learn fast, grow, and really be successful. And about successful people, the pattern that I've seen across successful business owners, successful people in life are is that all these people are action takers. They don't typically wait for permission, but they just try to act. Maybe get a lot of no's, but eventually keep moving forward. Think about all the successful people in the online business space that you've seen. Nobody has started perfectly. Just think one name and maybe go back and watch their YouTube videos. Go back and see their story. They just started out, right? They started doing content. Like I'm doing right now, right? I just starting out on YouTube. I'm not perfect. This video is not perfect, but and I still overthink a lot. For example, the YouTube kind of content that I want to post out, but I still act despite it's not perfect. And successful people are action takers and they just do the thing that they know is right to do without overthinking it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they just keep the ball rolling. It's about having a lot of shots, and you can have a lot of shots for whatever you want to pursue if you try the shot, right? So give yourself the chance to have a lot of shots and start acting. Because at the end, you will see unsuccessful people are the people who comment, judge, and they're always blah, blah, blah talking. There are so many people that talk and don't act. And I respect way more a person that speaks way less and just act, just shows up. This can be valuable also for friendships, right? Right? Like great friends, for example, are the ones who act as good friends, not that just talk about it. Conclude this video, here's my 3-step approach to transform your life by just start doing and stop thinking too much. First of all, tell yourself to just think once and act fast. Okay, so maybe you are thinking about a problem, you're thinking about a thing. Okay, let's say you don't have the perfect answer in your mind yet. Just acknowledge it and start by doing a small step towards that thing, whatever it might be, that you know it's the right thing to do, that you are just postponing it. This is the step number 2. And number 3 is just put a deadline to that small step as close as possible. Don't be unrealistic, but just say, okay, I know I want that change, whatever it might be. I know that I want to pursue that. What is the smallest thing I can do right now or today that will help me in the long run achieve my dream? So this really takes, few minutes of thinking, first of all, just to get clear on what is the right step to do or the right step just to try. It doesn't mean it must be perfect. And then just doing it today or now if you can. And after you do this exercise, you will be motivated to just keep going. Trust me, this will change your perspective in life and you, over the course of months, you will see how much you can accomplish by just doing stuff rather than thinking and thinking about it.